Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Harsh Mishra and I'm your host on the Cognitus webinar series. Today, I am joined by Jeff Olson, who is the partner at Cognitus and also the leader of the digital supply chain practice. So welcome to you all and welcome, Jeff Olson.
Thank you, Harsh.
Today, we have a very important topic to discuss, and that is the innovations in planning, right? We all have heard of APO and we've all heard of IBP. Could you shed some light between, and for a lot of people listening in, a little bit about APO, if they know or don't know it yet, and a little bit about IBP so that we can expand this conversation to what they can expect?
Yeah, absolutely. Happy to be here, Harsh. And, from the APO standpoint, any customers that are interested in hearing about this, when you move to IBP, you're probably already running APO in a lot of situations. APO end of life is coming soon, 2027 or 2028, depending, and in the maintenance cycle. So what happens, there's a lot of differences. We could even have a few-hour session just about that itself. But what IBP does, the main difference in our eyes is that it's a packaged solution. And what that means is it's not a development system. A lot of planning solutions, even APO, were meant to be more development, and a lot of customers have a lot of customization and a lot of coding into their APO solution. And what IBP does is change that mindset and deliver more of a best practice packaged solution that can be deployed quickly. You can still change a lot of things. It's still got a lot of flexibility, but it's meant to be implemented in a more packaged and best practice sort of manner. So that's one of the main differences that we see all the time, and a different mindset change for customers that have APO compared to IBP. And then when you get into more of the specifics, it's good to set the foundation of what IBP actually is, where, I mentioned the package solution, but it's also wrapped inside of what we call the control tower. Supply chain control tower is an important concept. You hear some folks call it the roof of the house, and inside you have these different pieces like sales, like S&OP, inventory, response and supply, and those different solution sets and different SKUs within the supply chain control tower and within IBP itself. So that, mentioning kind of the overarching piece of IBP, what SAP did was bring all those solution sets into one, and then the supply chain control tower empowers those companies to view all of that data together, which is a really important thing and really, really great, especially in the last couple of years when the supply chain had so many disruptions. Obviously, the pandemic amplified those many folds. Not that disruptions are a new thing to the supply chain, but the pandemic definitely woke a lot of us up on the supply chain side.
Absolutely, it did. And thank you for shedding some light on that, Jeff, the key differences and the key innovations and the simplicity that IBP brings over APO into the lives of SAP customers and supply chain planners. What pandemic also did was, really made customers lead with technology. They saw technology to be an answer to the challenges that they were facing. And a lot of them decided to transition from ECC to S/4HANA. And, this raised the question, right, about, moving from APO to IBP also in many customers that are currently using APO. And some customers who are not using APO at all now are, doing an implementation of IBP as well. So to acknowledge that also is an important thing. But the big question that a lot of the business users are asking is around three things. Why to move if you're already on APO? When to move? What's the right timing? And more importantly, how to move also. So if you could shed some light on that and, some of the key things that we should keep in mind when we're planning such a move, that'd be very helpful.
One of the reasons on the why is you do have a lot of innovations and things that are much better in IBP that they were in APO. Something that happens in a lot of customers and, those considering a move from APO to IBP, there's an important question in there, an important consideration is what ERP are they running? So if you're using APO, you're most likely, at least statistically, running SAP ECC or Azure platform, right? That's just a generic statement. And a consideration, a lot of companies think, okay, I need S/4HANA if I'm going to run IBP. Or just from a change management perspective, should I wait until I undertake a S/4HANA or a large enterprise-wide transformation like an ERP system switch to also put IBP in the roadmap at the same time. Not that that's not a bad thing to do, but really the time is now as far as moving to IBP. And the reason I say that is IBP can also be run standalone, meaning that you can have ECC, you can run IBP, and it's still not standalone in that situation. It can be integrated, but you can also be on other ERP platforms. You could be running Oracle or Infor or whatever ERP system, and you can run IBP standalone and have a planning solution that's non-integrated. And it's still a very powerful, robust tool that you can use for planning. Integrating it is obviously going to be a better use of the tool. But again, it doesn't have to be integrated into SAP Solutions itself. We've integrated it with other ERPs, and it works. It gives you the planning data, quicker time to react, right? It's not, we use the word proactive a lot, but really, even the pandemic's the most recent scenario that I can use and probably the most relatable. It's not about being proactive necessarily, it's reacting quicker, right? So where it may have taken 2, 3, 4 weeks sometimes to change your plan based on all the volatility and challenges we had during the pandemic, you can react much quicker with IBP. So that's why I really say the time is now. Hopefully, a lot of our disruptions are minimized at this point. Still some lagging, no doubt about it. But when we talk about the timing of IBP, there's really no reason to wait, right? And when you talk about the how, there's a lot of things to consider there. When you talk about moving plan and solutions, like I said, that can be a conversation in itself. But kind of from a high level is, you look at what's in APO today, you analyze what you're using it for, the different customizations that you've done, and you got to figure out how to roll those into IBP or move back to best practice. And that's a big mindset change, but you have a lot of things to consider there. But what we've noticed in the implementations we've done, and even moving from APO to IBP, the customers that really adapt their business to the solution are more successful than the ones that make their business fit into a solution. And what that means is the latter of those is a lot of customizations. And IBP being a cloud solution, you have 4 yearly updates every quarter, and you're going to have to do some additional testing and additional considerations when you have such a customized solution. So taking on that best practice, taking that into consideration when you move from APO to IBP is extremely important. Something else to consider there, you mentioned the why and the when and all of those things. There's so many innovations within IBP. I touched on a couple, but you get so much more out of the SAP roadmap with the Intelligent Enterprise using IBP, right? There's something really cool that I think is really great that SAP just did was the truckload optimization within IBP. So you can put that on the logistics business network and integrate with that and optimize how you configure your trucks. And based on the load on the truck, how many pallets, for example, you can roll that back in IBP to update your planning to be more quickly reactive. And then there's risk layers also that, for example, it's hard. You can't really put a risk of a pandemic inside of a tool necessarily. But if you think about weather, for example, if you're shipping a lot in the Northeast and a huge snowstorm comes through, you can change your lead times very quickly from 3 days to 2 weeks, for example. And SAP calculates that for you based on the weather, which is a really cool innovation that SAP is doing. So every quarter, you get these latest and greatest updates and new solutions and innovations that SAP is a very forward-thinking organization, and they're rolling this into the package. So it's not that you have to customize anything or necessarily do anything there. It's just utilizing new functionality. A lot of new functions within MRO. If you're a manufacturing company with a lot of MRO that you need to maintain, getting parts and sharing those parts across the organization, purchasing them if they're new, OEM, things of that nature. So that was a lot of information quickly, but those are kind of the main innovations and the why, when, how.
Very useful information there, Jeff. Thank you for sharing that. So what I heard from what you said, right? Not only are you innovating the planning itself within IBP, but with various integrations, everything from planning based on your demand to planning based on your constraint to planning based on the weather to planning based on every parameter is what this solution brings to the table.
Yeah, correct. And another important thing that, IBP does bring over APO is the fact that, a lot of companies run Ariba with ECC also. With APO, there's really no native integration there. But what a lot of, any of you that are considering moving to IBP, and let's say you run Ariba today, that would be even a better use case where you can use planning collaboration within Ariba and IBP to increase forecast frequency and accuracy. You can gain visibility into your supplier manufacturing. If you're using CMOs, for example, they can share on-hand inventory. You can share your production plans with them so they can more quickly react and be proactive about their production. If you're probably an important customer to them. And then also you can manage by exception. So you can see those constraints that Harsh mentioned. And all of those types of things that are there, you can integrate your planning tool with your procurement tool. And that is a huge accomplishment for organizations.
That's definitely a huge accomplishment. And Jeff, I know that SAP has recognized Cognitus as one of the few partners in the world, really the innovation partner in this space where you've connected the procurement and the planning as one integrated system, right? So bring Ariba from one side and the IBP on the other side, connecting with ERP in the middle, and really, creating that whole ecosystem, the one story, the one solution, and many benefits to the customers. Last question, Jeff. How do people who want to take advantage of this innovation reach out to you?
Yeah, so we have multiple ways. You have LinkedIn there always. We'd be happy to help at least take you through something that we typically start with is some sort of demo, right? We're ready to demo whenever. Like Harsh mentioned, we have solutions that we can demo right away. We have these integrated in-house systems, and we can tailor those to some of your data, even if you'd like. And then Harsh, you can talk about a little bit about how you can just contact us as a sales group, from our website or email or whatever that is.
Absolutely. There is always sales@cognitus.com. So thank you very much, Jeff, for sharing these insights.
Thank you, Harsh.
Thank you all for listening in today. We look forward to bringing you the latest, the greatest, the most innovative stories from the SAP world from this desk here at Cognitus. Thank you. And this is Harsh Mishra.